Yes, Aisuluu, we are live. Hi, how are you doing?
Hello, I'm fine, thank you. How are you?
I'm also fine. Thank you very much, Aisuluu. So we have to wait couple minutes, just our viewers can join us. So let's
Mm-hmm.
wait.
Okay.
Do you hear me well?
Yes, I can hear you well. How about you? Can you
Yes,
hear
I
me
also
okay?
the same. Yes, I can hear you very well. So yes, our viewers joined us. So thank you very much for joining. So good afternoon, dear friends, dear teachers. Welcome to our virtual session, English Language Teachers Corner. And it's my great pleasure to introduce our guest speaker today, Aisuluu Syzdykova. She is e-teacher alumna, U.S. Embassy English for Young Professionals program teacher. So today she will be talking about inspiring and interesting topic such as what helps me teaching with enthusiasm. So thank you very much, Aisuluu, for your time and for accepting the invitation. I think we can start. The floor is yours.
Thank you, Aida. Thank you for this introduction. Okay, hello everyone. Again, my name is Aisuluu. I'm a teacher trainer also. I'm a teacher at Lingua Foundation at Lingua School. And this is the first time for me to be on this virtual platform for you. And I wonder, do we have how many people do we have there? How many viewers? And can you put plus? I'm addressing to the viewers now. Can you put plus if you know me, if we ever met?
So we have now 6 viewers, and
Wow.
also already uh, 2 people commented us. Hello, hello from Sasil Bulak. Even
Oh, hello.
teachers
These are my
from region
colleagues.
also, yes, watch
This
our
is
set.
very nice. This is very nice to see my colleagues over there. Thank you very much for coming.
Mhm.
Okay, can we start then?
Yes, sure. I will
Aida,
share the screen.
yeah, can you
Uh,
launch the presentation, the very first slide?
yes, yes.
Okay, if you see on the screen now, the topic of this session is what helps me teaching with enthusiasm. Let me say a few words why I choose this topic. First of all, I would like to say that this is something that I've been learning it myself. And to be honest with you, it wasn't like through my whole teaching career that I was enthusiastic about it. This is something that I'm just learning. I think it's very important to be enthusiastic in life, at work, with your friends, and with your family, because this actually helps me to see the joy in life and also helps me in my learning position because I genuinely believe that life is a school. And let me ask you to recall the moments when you felt yourself enthusiasm and the things that made it possible that you were full of enthusiasm. Can you put one if you have those feelings now, if you can feel them? Aida, I don't see the chat, unfortunately. Can you tell me if there are any number
Oh,
ones?
I'm also running the presentation, so unfortunately I couldn't able to see the comments as well as
Okay.
your.
Okay, well, hopefully the people are enthusiastic and they have the moments and they have had the moments of enthusiasm in their lives.
Mhm.
Okay, this is a bit unusual for me to speak at the presentation without no feedback from the audience. So I'm just learning. Okay. Oh, I just wonder if we have any comments, what things that makes people feel enthusiasm. If you are able, if you can you write it in the chat box? What helps you feel enthusiasm? Like some ideas. Aida, so do none of us can see the chat then?
Yes.
Or you can still, none of us.
No, I can see the chat. because I'm running the presentation now. So
Ah, I see. Okay, then I will read I will read the chat then afterwards. Okay, then can we get to then
the first one.
yeah, this is the list that I saw that people. Can you take maybe you can take off our videos so we can see the slide better because I think that people are watching it with the help of their mobile phones. Is it possible to make the screen bigger without our videos?
I already made it as a full screen, so
Okay,
hope
thank you very
you guys
much.
as others
All right,
to see better. So
thank you. Okay, what do I have on my first slide is possible ideas that people can come up with, like good conditions, like salary. I should have added actually good salary over here. Then good relationships with students and colleagues, good health, good mood, maybe preparedness to the lesson because lesson plan is our everything, is something that we need every single lesson. Then we actually good students, like active students, I guess. Clear lesson aims and maybe other things that people might have thought about. But today, I'd like you to think about this aspect from a little bit different angle. Ada, can you get us onto the next slide, please?
yes.
Okay, so what you see now on the picture is a man tuning the piano. Tuning means preparing it, preparing a musical instrument before using it to make sure that the sounds sound well, that the composition and melody sound smooth. And guess what I suggest now? That we tune ourselves before we go to the lesson. Well, I don't know the correct word in English. I decided to choose the word tuning, but in Russian, I would say настройка. So I tune myself before the lesson starts. How do I do it? I am trying to draw an image in my mind of my lesson, how dynamic, how deep the lesson may be. And then I think also about my students and I imagine them to be active or to be thoughtful. I also imagine my students being open to the process, learning things. I also think about myself, how much I am involved into this process. Remember, this is something that I think before I go into the class. This is something that helps me tune myself to be enthusiastic. I also sometimes I think about my role as of a teacher in my classes and my job and my relationship with my students that helps me that help me feel enthusiasm about myself and about my students. I also think about a good phrase that actually can help me feel enthusiastic. And once I heard a very nice phrase from my boss Gulnara, which sounds this way: I want to be a happy teacher to teach happy students. How does this sound? Isn't it enthusiastic? I think when you say this phrase, you already feel this enthusiasm. Okay, Ida, can you get us onto the next slide where I can see these bullet points? Okay, so before I go to the class, I tune myself like, like tuning a musical instrument to make sure that I sound well, that the process goes smooth. So I have an image of myself, of my lesson, of my students, and I think about some success stories of my students. And this is all helps me feel already enthusiasm. Okay, Aida, can we go to the next slide, please?
Yes.
Okay, what do you think this slide is going to be about? It says, today is awesome because you're here. Isn't it nice to hear this phrase?
Yes.
Okay, so this is actually the point number 2, and I would like to speak here about the importance of saying positive things, of seeing and saying positive things in my students and to my students. What I do is I usually choose a few students and try to find good qualities in them like something like their efforts they do, despite the fact that they might be slow, not very active, like latecomers, not very quick and responsive. Do you think I'm talking about active students? No, of course. I'm talking about the students who I call a challenge for me.
Mm-hmm.
So I try to find some positive things about them, like some talents. For example, the way they listen to other students, the way they might be very attentive to when I explain. Maybe they need handwriting. Somebody is on time and having all the books and notebooks. This is all what I see positive about those students. Thinking positively about the students helped me to get inspired and enthusiastic. And when I say these words to the students, this inspires them too. Like I personally believe that when we say some kind words, it brings a different atmosphere. Okay, can you get us to the next slide, please, where I have some short descriptions about this. So again, the second thing is think positively of my students. I remember about their efforts, their strengths, positive qualities, their progress. By the way, I never compare students with other students. I think it's just ruining. I compare them with themselves, but some time ago. Like if I remember myself, like being a teacher, like maybe 10, 15 years ago, it was almost a complete disaster. So I've progressed and I'm proud about this because I compare myself with myself in the past. And this what helps me see the difference. And of course, I need to say this to the students. Somebody may think that, oh, it may take like the whole lesson. Actually, it takes like 2, 3 minutes saying some good words, some kind words to students at the beginning, maybe at the class, maybe during some processes that happening in your class. Okay, this was number 2. Aida, how about the next slide, please? Yes. Oh, okay. So this is a picture that I thought will demonstrate my feelings about saying kind and positive words to people, because I think this brings or promotes universal balance. This is like my personal idea, and I decided to share with you. Hope you agree. Okay. So, and the next slide, Aida, please. Okay, what do you think this is gonna be about? We can see a teacher having different gestures, positions. Any ideas? Aida, I will have to ask you, otherwise I lack some audience. Any idea what do you think it is about?
I see the calling to action, maybe.
Okay. So like different positions can speak about like what actions I would like to see in my students, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Ah, okay, that's interesting. Here I'd like to speak about body language.
Mm.
Okay, I try to look at myself and like uh, watch my body language. I want to check if my face expression is
Mm-hmm.
okay, is actually friendly and welcoming. Do I smile? How do I look? Who do I represent? A strict teacher or a friendly teacher? Or a busy teacher or unhappy teacher? Or a teacher who is enjoying the process with the students, being enthusiastic and being engaged in the lesson? I also check how I sound, yeah, if my voice is positive, if it's not too, like if I'm not shouting, because sometimes we can actually forget about this, but this is important, I think. And of course, I watch my gestures because like you can speak with a sweet voice, but your face and the gestures can speak completely different things about you. And I also check like what first words do I say to my students. I remember the times when I actually asked my students, did you do the homework? Do you think it brings enthusiasm or not? And the questions like, why didn't you do the homework? Why are you late? Well, I was trying to be friendly and genuinely, be curious about why they're late, to just to understand and like get into the like peaceful condition of myself. But they actually sounded like I'm checking, like I'm asking, like, why is that? This is not normal. Like the another voice behind my voice speaks about actually my emotions, my real emotions. Okay, so this number three. Um, Let me remind you that the first one was tuning myself. The second was, Aida, do you remember what was the second?
Think positive.
Exactly, think and say positive things. And the next, and this one is body language.
Body language.
Okay, yes, okay, like watch your body language, yeah, watch your tone, what you say. Aida, can you get us onto the next slide where I can, where I have
Yes.
these little things? Okay, so we can see the first picture, a completely disappointed face expression,
Mm-hmm.
to enthusiastic and inspiring teacher. Okay, again, check how do you look,
Mm-hmm.
check your tone, and watch your gestures. And remember, what kind of teacher do you represent? A strict teacher, a kind teacher, a friendly teacher, or unhappy teacher?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, can we get to the next slide, please?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and the next slide is taken, the information is taken from psychology, which I'm studying at the moment. And today I would like you to introduce to the 5 principles taken from psychology, from coaching people. And it was invented by Erickson, by Milton Erickson. If you are interested, you can always Google it. So the first sounds like this: every person is okay. Human beings everywhere are basically okay. The second, people have real resources. They have many more resources that they know. Just imagine that you have more resources that you can think you have at the moment. The next principle is every person has a positive intention. Even if a positive intention is hidden, it can quickly be found. Number 4, people do their best. They make their best choices each day with what they know about life so far. And the last one, change is inevitable. No matter how difficult we learn, we still grow and we change. Okay, these are very, very interesting 5 principles, and it's not easy just to, like understand all of them. Just looking at this briefly, so I would like to focus today on the very first one. Everybody is okay in this world. Yes, I speak about slow, passive students, latecomers, shy, and everyone who is not very favorite of yours at that moment. I remember that they're still okay. They have their own resources, they have their own paths, they have their own, you know, aims. Everybody is different, and I try to accept my students for what they are, with their circumstances and with the conditions they have. Everyone is different, yes, that's true, but we have the same aim in the class. That actually helps me be, like feel enthusiasm about them. Well, maybe it doesn't help me feel enthusiasm, but it doesn't reduce my enthusiasm. It helps me enjoy the process, and at the same time, I remember about my lesson goals, and it doesn't contradict each other. Each student achieves a progress on his own path, on his own or her own level. Of course, there is at the same time one level of progress we need to achieve, all of us, because we have common tests, like at the end of the semesters, at the end of the academic years. But individual progress is extremely important too. This, this opens the door for me to see the personalities in my students, engagement, their progress, their efforts, their talents. I can see that they're trying, that they're doing best for this. Well, maybe it doesn't seem for me that this is best, but still, it's their personal approach. If even if there is a little progress or no progress, I reflect. I come up with more things to offer to my students. And together with my students, we are in the process, and there is emotional confidence, and everyone grows being enthusiastic and inspired by the learning process. Okay, each of these principles is very important, and of course, they deserve to to study in detail and more. But today is focused only the first one. When I learned about this principle, it actually it made my life so easy. And I thought, okay, everyone is okay still, despite all the difficulties and challenges they may have with me. Everyone is okay. Okay, and the very last thing today I want to share with you is, Aida, can you get us to the next slide, please?
Sure.
Yes, just being thankful, saying thank you to your students, saying thank you to yourself because you also were part of it, and reflect to for better progress in yourself and your students. Okay, this is actually all that I wanted to share today with you, and I hope that I am finishing on time.
Mhm.
There are many other things that I wanted to share with you, but I just decided to focus on this five. Okay, let me repeat this again. So the first one was a tuning yourself, like preparing yourself for the lesson. The second is thinking positively and saying positive things to people. Remember, it brings universal balance. So you're part of this process. The next thing is that um, I forgot it myself. Watching your body language and making sure that you start with the correct questions, and then remember that everyone is okay. Everyone is okay. And the last one, being thankful for the process to all the participants of the lesson.
Mhm.
Okay, and I'm
Wonderful.
finishing with this.
Mhm. Thank you very much, Aisuluu, for your an outstanding presentation. So it was really useful, and I was also listening very carefully. So it also was very, I mean, informative for me too. So let's check the questions.
Yeah, I wonder if we have any comments, any questions. I also would like our viewers to share their feelings maybe they may have at the moment.
Yes. So, dear friends, dear teachers, please leave your questions, comments under this video, and Aisuluu will answer them. So, the first question for you: who influenced you to become a teacher?
Well, actually, many people, to be honest with you. Um, my mother was an English teacher, first of all. Then I watched her working a lot and at the same time enjoying the process. Well, of course, she sometimes like complained about like lots and lots of papers to check, but at the same time, I saw this sparkles in her eyes when she was correcting the students' papers and saying, "Oh, that's a progress. That's a good thing." And a couple of times, I was lucky to be in her lessons at school. Well, I was a small girl, but I still remember this. I also had a great teacher in my school and university. And you
Mhm.
need to make sure that you are surrounded with people who have the same aim. Like Lingua is a magical place. There are people like this. They believe in changes, they grow, and they help other people grow.
Mhm. Great, amazing. Thank you very much, Aisuluu. So we received a lot of comments. Thank you very much. So thank you for your presentation. And also, I was feeling very relaxed, like the feeling in a meditation. So this kind of feelings our viewers had. And the next question for you: have you ever worked at any secondary school?
Well, my practice when I was at university, it was like about 3 months that when I worked at the secondary school.
Mm-hmm. Mhm. So thank you very much. So just the next question: what kinds of qualities do students look for in teachers?
Well, this is a very nice question. Thank you very much for this. And I'm sure that every teacher can answer this question like easily because you know your students better. And students are different. And sometimes they want a strict teacher, sometimes they want a kind teacher, sometimes they want just a friend. You should have this feeling, and I'm sure that you do so.
Mm-hmm. So thank you very much, Aisuluu. Maybe this next question will follow the previous one. What personal traits do teachers need to be successful?
Well, yes, exactly. This is something which is connected with the previous question. And I think that, well, when you have contact with yourself, when you understand yourself, when you understand your wishes, your needs, your real needs, and your real wishes, then you can understand other people, and first of all, your students. As I said before, sometimes students need to be, like in a very strict conditions. So the teacher seeks for responsibilities and asks, like, so be responsible for that process because we all share this responsibility. Sometimes they need a supportive teacher. And despite this all, you always need to remember that you are the leader and you're making your students into the leaders. So they don't depend only on another leader, but they become themselves leaders.
Mm-hmm. Great. Thank you very much, Aisuluu. What is your favorite book?
My favorite book? Well, I remember the time when I was actually in love with Scrivener. Every teacher knows about this book. So we read it, we tried to make up our lessons according to everything what is written in this book. Like, like at different times, it's a different book. At the moment, it is a book. Um, well, I actually I find it difficult to choose one book. There are like series of books at the moment.
So many great books, and it's really difficult to
Yeah,
choose.
exactly. Really difficult to choose. But a little bit from psychology, a little bit from methodology, like different stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yes, cool. Thank you very much, Aisuluu. So the next question: do you think that teacher's voice is important at teaching practice?
I think that I need some clarification about this. Teacher voice is important in teaching practice. Well, this is something that I reflected in my presentation when speaking about body language. Of course, it is important. Yes.
Important. So thank you very much, Aisuluu. So the next question: hello. Do you ever feel tired of your work? If yes, how do you
Yes,
relieve in a short period of time?
of course I do. I feel tired sometimes. Well, I'm not enthusiastic all the time. Well, I'm trying to be enthusiastic and I do everything to help me be enthusiastic. But at the same time, I'm, like I'm a woman and not very young, so I feel tired sometimes. And what helps me is my regular routine. I get up very early in the morning and I try to get up to get to the bed like early as possible. I also keep a vegetarian diet and I do
Mm-hmm.
some physical exercises. And of course, like my family, my friends, my colleagues. Like at the moment in these conditions, when everybody just recently has been isolated, well, you feel actually you understand the value of communication, value of like um, people surrounding you.
Mm-hmm. Yes, you're right. So thank you very much, Aisuluu. So the next question: How do you approach discipline and what role does it play in teaching?
Well, I understand the question. I think I understand the another question behind the word discipline because, well, I don't work in public schools and I don't have like 30, 40 students in one class, fortunately. And I understand the difficulties when teachers come across with these problems. Well, I personally believe that, like a discipline starts with yourself. If you come to the lesson being full of, like different emotions and you're not tuned and you expect your students to be somewhat, maybe it won't help any discipline. The
Mm-hmm.
second thing is that I believe in my students. I believe that one day they will change, they will progress, they will do their best. Because as if we read just in my presentation, that the resources are there. They just don't know this. It's
Super.
actually a very difficult question, and it's not possible to answer like with one or two words. This is a good question for me to think about. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Thank you very much, Aisuluu. So the next question, have you ever lost your enthusiasm at teaching and how did you deal with that?
Many, many times. Many, many times. Well, actually, a couple of times in my life, in my teaching career, I stopped teaching. I stopped
Mm-hmm.
being a teacher and I started working in a completely different field. But like fate or life, they actually made me come back to teaching. And I realized that like it's a difficult job, but at the same time it's important. And I just do my best to continue. Well, if it doesn't work one time, I just don't stop. I try again and again.
Mm-hmm. Just never give up, yes.
Yeah,
um,
you realize that you're not ideal and nothing comes from the first time. You just keep doing it.
mhm. Thank you very much, Aisuluu. So the next question, what is the best way to get feedback from your students?
Well, the best way, there is no one way which is best actually. There are different ways. You can directly ask students, you can ask them to write anonymous feedback, you can make a questionnaire. There are different forms. But you can also watch your students and you know yourself. I'm sure that if you're honest with you, you know what would be the feedback for this class, for this moment, for the whole semester from your students. And you reflect and you change.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Great. Thank you very much, Aisuluu. So I would like to read the next comment. So your advice and suggestions still help me not only in my teaching process, but in my life as well.
Oh,
So
I wonder who is this? Thank you very much. This is a very nice thing to hear.
yes. So we received so many great questions and comments. So the next
Thank
question
you.
for you, Aisuluu, how teaching and psychology is connected?
Say it again. How?
How teaching and psychology is connected?
Very connected. Actually, psychology is everywhere. Psychology is all about relationship. Relationship is like with you, with your students, with your family, like with everyone. So psychology is in every field. This is what I believe in.
Hmm. Great. So do you use reward system in your teaching?
Yes, yes, I do. I sometimes, but I'm not required to put the scores because we just have tests at the end of the semester, at the end of the course. But my students know that today they were good, today they could do better, and like sometimes everybody knows about formative assessment. This is
Mhm.
something which is ongoing process, and every teacher, while watching the students, they can actually say, okay, so this is something not good. This is where you can do better, and you can always talk to people, or you can just send them like short messages. Well, I see that you are a little bit down. I hope that everything is okay. Please hurry up and do get things, like do good things because like we don't have much time over there.
Mhm. Great. Thank you very much, Aisuluu. So could you please tell us more about your e-teacher program experience?
Oh, that was a long time ago, but it was a wonderful time. Like it's a different, first of all, you're among colleagues who have the same aim. And actually, you're
Mhm.
with the colleagues who are trying to unpack this new knowledge. Like we discuss things. And the another advantage of this course is because there are people from different countries, and they bring their own experience, their own views, and this is because of a different culture. And this is extremely interesting because you may think that this is one correct answer, but somebody brings something different, and then the teacher comes up. I mean, the senior teacher, the leader of the program, and she would say, like, actually, there is something else to think about. So this is a very engaging process, and I wish everybody have everybody has a chance to be part of it. And because there is a big choice of this. I personally did three, but I'm sure that there are many more than this. I don't remember the whole list of the e-courses at the moment, but it's a very engaging process, very interesting, and it gets you into a completely different world.
Hmm. Wonderful. Wonderful experience. Thank you very much
Hmm.
for sharing this. So, Aisuluu, what is the program English for Young Professionals? Could you please tell us about it?
Okay, English for Young Professionals. It's a program that is funded by U.S. Embassy in Bishkek and
Mhm.
provided by Lingua School. And it is for young professionals, state workers. I think that we have an age limit over there, but this is a program to help state workers and enable them, to acquire knowledge of English for them to, I would say, to enlarge their opportunities to be helpful for the state and public by
Mhm.
learning English with professionals where actually everything is provided for free. They have opportunities to participate in different programs where English is the main language. So they can bring this experience back to our country and use it here for the better future of the whole Kyrgyzstan.
Mhm. Wow, wonderful. Thank you very much, Aisuluu. This was our last question for you.
Thank
And
you.
actually, it was a really useful and amazing session, and we were very happy to have you. And also, I also say thank you to our viewers for those who commented and asked the questions. So thank you very much, everyone. So thank you for being with us, and a special thanks to you, Aisuluu. So I
Oh,
think
thank you. Thank you for the invitation to this platform. Thank you for the viewers. Thank you. Thank you for this opportunity to share my thoughts and my knowledge with you.
yes. So I think it's time to say goodbye. But also I want to make a brief announcement. See you at 9 o'clock. We have a writing class session with U.S. Embassy representative. So see you soon. Stay tuned and have a great day. Bye, everyone.
Goodbye. Goodbye to everyone.